you know, these housings are all aluminum, and you know they were taken apart a few times. You got to be careful because you can strip these threads real easy. This is where the cover goes that holds the shifter knobs or rods and the forks. And I was just cleaning the housing up, and I noticed I had two holes that the threads are bad in. And you can kind of see, I ran a tap through all of them, and you can see how shiny, look how nice the threads look in these. Okay, you get there, and you don't even see any threads. You kind of see a little impression of it in there, and you can see this bolt just slides right in and out. Okay, that's not any good. Same way over here. This one's not quite as bad. I can only go down about 1/8 of an inch, and it hits some metal, but they look bad down quite a ways. You know, here it won't even, you know, like I said, it won't go in the hole because you got threads there right at the bat. So what I did, I've got several kits in stock, but I didn't have a 5/16 18. That's what these threads are. So I got this at Advanced Auto. You can get them about any auto parts store. This brand is a Fix-A-Thread. They make several different brands. They go by a common name of Helicoil. Back in the day, and still today, Helicoil is probably the main company making these kits. And so it's kind of like a crescent wrench. Everybody calls a crescent wrench, even though not all of them are Crescent brand. Same way with these. They'll call these Helicoils because they're basically like a helicoil. This kit doesn't come with a drill bit, so on the back it tells you need a 8.3 millimeter or a 21/64 drill to pre-drill the hole, so you can run the tap in there, and you got this tool to insert these stainless steel inserts into the hole. And this handle's kind of neat on this insert tool. It's got a square in it, so you can use it as a tap wrench too, to use to drive the tap in. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm already set up here in the mill. I've got my housing set up on an angle plate, and I got another support at this end, and just lightly clamping it, just keep the vibration out. I went ahead and dialed in on this surface with a dial indicator to make sure I'm sitting flat with the world. And then what I did is I've got this 1/4 inch diameter rod, and I went down and centered up off the hole. These kits are designed. You can drill this with a hand drill if you want. I mean, they're designed to be used that way. You don't have to put it in a mill like this to do it. I just like to do it because I have a mill, and it gives you a lot more accurate hole. And a lot of times what you can do, you can put the cover on there or put a couple bolts in it and kind of take whatever size holes in the cover and take that size drill through the cover by hand and just spot this, and it'll kind of help give you a good center point to come through when you hand drill it. And you just want to be careful you stay square with this face when you come down through, so your hole's not going in there crooked. But their kits are designed, you can use them by hand, and they make all different kinds. They make metric, they make ones for spark plugs, and there's a lot of different styles of thread inserts too. There's solid steel ones, there's these kind that are like a wound spring. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds. They got little stakes on them and stuff. This particular type here, those springs are bigger than that tap, and so when you excuse me, when you screw them down into the hole, they have to compress into that hole as you tighten them down in there, and that's what kind of locks them in there. They do make some inserts that got little weird bulges on them and stuff that make it lock in there too. I mean, there's a lot of different locking ones, but that's the way these are designed to use. I mean, you don't need to put any Loctite on them or anything. They're held in there with pressure. And for the most part, they stay in there. I mean, I've had a few work out on me before, but normally they stay in there pretty good. So let me get the camera set on the tripod, and we'll go ahead and start repairing these holes. Okay, you can see I'm lined up with that hole. It goes right down in there, straight centered. You can see it's got an evenly gap all the way around it. So we can take that out, drop the drill in. And these are blind holes, so I'll drill down until I hit the bottom of the hole. If they're through holes, you just drill straight through, but if they're blind holes, you just drill down until you hit the bottom of the original hole. Okay, what I did on both holes, if you notice, I just screwed the tap in using the chuck to keep it straight for a couple threads. So now I can finish tapping it by hand. And I've got threads to help me get started straight on there now. So you still want to be careful though, if you don't hold it straight as you're going down, you could get crooked again. And this is a 4-flute tap, so in theory you should go about a quarter turn and back it off to break the chips off. It depends on the material you're using. If this was cast iron, you could go right down through it because the chips will break off as they come off because it's just cast. And this is cast aluminum, so it kind of does the same thing to a degree, but it's still a little gummy and sticky, so it will build up. So you just want to take your time. Don't get rammy with it. This one's not too bad. It's a big enough tap, but you start getting down into smaller taps, it's very easy to break a tap off if you're not careful. You want to make sure you keep those flutes cleaned out by bracking them off. I'm going a little more than a quarter turn, and as you come back, you can feel it bind up and break that thread off, so it keeps it from building up. So I'm down to the bottom of the hole now. And that should be plenty deep enough for what the length of my insert is. Sometimes if you've got a real short area here, you might have to screw your insert in and then take a Dremel grinder with a parting wheel and cut it off because it'll be a little bit too long. But again, that's no big deal to do. Same thing over here. I don't know if you hear that in the background, but those are gunshots. Where we live out here in the mini farms, everybody has a gun range on their property. I even have one. So it's not unusual to hear gunfire out here at any time. Usually it's more on the weekends, but it's common. Okay, you can see all the chips that stuck to that tap. That's because that cutting fluid I use, it's a real thick cutting fluid. It works really good. It also helps keep the chips, if you're doing a blind hole or something, to come back out with a tap. And you want to clean those holes out real good. Make sure they're good and clean. I can see down in there very easily. They're big enough holes. Okay, the insert just slips down on this thing here, like that. And then you want to kind of keep pressure down on it as you're turning so it starts feeding down in that hole. If you don't keep it tight all the time, you could skip a thread as it's going down in there, and you'll have to pull the insert out and put a new one in because you'll damage it getting it out. So you just want to screw it down in there like that, and that puts it flush with the top. And it kind of slips off the end of this when you get to the right depth. So the threads are up near the top still, and you can kind of see them down in there. Now there's a little tang on that. There's a little tang on that insert down at the bottom of the hole. So they took, when they make these inserts, they notch it right there. So if you put a screwdriver or something down in there against it and pop it real quick, it'll pop that off. And then you can blow it out with an air hose or take a little pick or something, get it out of there. Just do like that, pops it right off. And let me see if I can blow it out of there. That's it. And you can see we have good threads again. There's a bolt for you. Like that. And that's a lot better thread than what you have like that. So those are done. Now I've got a regular tap wrench that I use to tap this with, but if you didn't have that, you don't have to go out and buy one. Like I said, the handle for the insert tool, that's designed to be a tap wrench. That's kind of a nifty idea. They never used to do that. You used to have a tap wrench. So that's kind of nice that they do that. Pretty neat. So that should be all the holes I need to repair as far as I've found so far. I'll double check when I get ready to start putting them back together. But I'm about as far as I can go till the rest of my parts come in. So I'm going to close out this video for now, and we'll pick it up when I get the rest of my parts in, when I start reassembling this. And I'm still waiting on my short block to come in. I'm waiting to hear from them. They said it'd be about a month, so I'm thinking it'll probably be the end of January, maybe the second week of February, something like that, before I hear from them. But there's a lot of other things I can be doing in the meantime. There's stuff I still need to pull off the old engine. I need to pull the cam out, you know, the timing chain of gears. Some of the, like for the oil pressure sensor and the water temperature, things like that, I got to pull out and to use on the new engine. So I guess that's about all I'm going to do for today on this. Appreciate you guys watching, and like I always say, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.